Hello and welcome to some more Zero to Hero with me, Zero, and today we are going to be looking at the Byzantines. So, without delaying this any further, let's get started. The Byzantines are labelled as a defensive civilization, but they work well as a good all-round civilization with a very broad tech tree and lots of options open to them. It's probably easier to list the units and technologies that they don't have rather than the ones that they do. Their bonuses are as follows. Buildings gain plus 10% HP per age. Camels, skirmishers and pikemen are 20% cheaper. Fireships have a plus 20% attack. The upgrade to the Imperial Age costs 33% less. They also get Town Watch for free. And their team bonus is that monks have a 50% increase of heal speed. The Byzantines have a very fleshed out tech tree, with all of the barracks units available to them, including both barracks technologies, and all but blast furnace from the blacksmith. They don't get any bonus to their champion line, so they are not as formidable as, say, the Japanese in this respect. Due to having cheaper skirmishers and pikemen though, spamming halberdier later on in the game, where there is not so much gold left, becomes a lot more cost effective. Byzantines also have all archery range units available to them, including the hand cannoneer. They also have every archer blacksmith upgrade and thumb ring too, but due to having no Parthian tactics and the cost of the cavalry archer in comparison to the Huns, the cavalry archer is not such a good choice. Moving to the stable, and it's a similar story. Every unit is available, including the camel and heavy camel, as well as paladins too. This makes the Byzantines pretty versatile in the Castle Age, but we'll talk about that a little more later on. They do not get Bloodlines technology, and also miss Blast Furnace, so their cavalry do fall behind other civilizations such as Franks and Huns for paladins and Saracens for camels. Their siege workshop is a little less advanced, with Siege Onager and Heavy Scorpion both unavailable. However, they do still get siege rams and bombard cannons, utilising their gunpowder technology much more, unlike the Aztecs and the Britons who we've covered so far. The Byzantines' castle is one of the strongest points to the Byzantines. Not only does it have great hit points from their unique bonus and hoardings, but it's where they produce the Cataphract, an extremely powerful heavy cavalry unit, and my personal favourite unit in the game as well. The Cataphract is great for killing infantry, and fares well even against cavalry too. Cataphracts are a powerful force in the Byzantine army. Finally, moving on to the dock, once again, everything, including this time Callan galleons and everything else as well. The Byzantines have a very good navy. With a bonus to their fire ships and every dock upgrade available, they can certainly be a formidable force on the water, especially in the late game, when there is the possibility for them to make the cannon galleons as well and do massive damage from the water. The fireship's 20% extra attack means that Byzantines give fireships a little more purpose, unlike most civilizations where they aren't often seen. However, in most situations it's still most likely to see players making galleys, war galleys and galleons over the fireship. We'll now do an age by age breakdown of the Byzantines, discussing what techs and units are best suited to each age. The Byzantines in the Dark Age can choose to drush or not. The choice is yours. If you're a confident drusher and it suits your playstyle, then drushing is something that you may choose to do in most games. Of course, stating the obvious, but a drush is only an option if you're in a 1v1 or in a flank position. A 3 militia drush can be very effective if you can wall your base quickly and easily to allow yourself to follow up with a fast castle. In the Feudal Age, it's a good idea to build 2 archery ranges rather than a stable, providing you're in a 1v1 or on the flank, not intending to fast castle. The Byzantines are very diverse and could go for scouts, but it's usually much better to go with the archers/skirmishers in Feudal. Firstly, their cheaper skirmishers can add bulk to your army initially, and when fighting against other archer civilizations, the cheaper skirmishers can help to give you the upper hand. When playing against a civilization who is more likely to scout rush, then it's best to go with archers and add some spearmen to protect your wood and gold areas. As archers require no food and their skirmishers are 20% cheaper, a Byzantine player can reach the Castle Age in a reasonable time, where they will be able to do a lot more. On the water, the Byzantines should of course make galleys in the Feudal Age, which can be upgraded to war galley once they advance up to castle. Once again, With the Byzantines, depending on your position on the map and the map itself, you'll want to head towards different strategies. If you're on the flank or in a 1v1, then providing you have a group of skirmishers already, then upgrading straight to Elite Skirmisher and getting Bodkin Arrow is a great idea. It's likely that you'll need to do the Elite Skirmisher upgrade later if the game continues anyway, and getting it early will also give a good boost to your skirmishers that are already out. Against other archer civilizations that will likely be going for crossbows, this works well. You should also upgrade to crossbow quickly too, as you'll want to mix crossbows into your army also. A couple of knights could destroy your entire army of skirmishers, so it's a better idea to add plenty of crossbows, as they will have a much easier time dealing with knights than your skirmishers will. This is really important. Keep scouting your opponent to find out what army composition they're going for. 2 to 3 archery ranges and then you're good to make skirmishers. A stable or 2 and you'll need to invest into the crossbows. Once in the Castle Age you can of course make mangonels, which do cost quite a substantial amount of gold. If you're making a lot of skirmishers, then you'll find your gold starting to pile up pretty quickly, as you're not spending it on military at all. At this stage, it can be great to add a mangonel or 2 into your army. You'll be able to do a lot of damage to your opponent's archers that way. Another thing which hasn't really been mentioned yet is also the use of monks. These can be great in the Castle Age to protect against raiding knights, and of course to collect up all those important relics, especially in an arena game. The Byzantines' monks are rather formidable, with only the herbal medicine upgrade missing. If you're playing Byzantines in a pocket position, then the best option is to go straight with knights and or camels. As stated before, the Byzantines have a lot of choice, and whilst they do have a lot of units available to them, they don't particularly over-excel in any one area. Deciding between knights and camels or a mix of both is important. It depends on your role and what the enemy is also doing. Creating camels works well if your flank player are having a hard time and trying to defend against knights, as camels of course act a lot like pikemen when fighting other cavalry. However, camels do not make good raiding units and die very quickly to building arrow fire, so if your flank player is doing well and is on the offensive, then creating knights in order to help raid the enemy economy is a much better idea. Don't race to get a castle up and produce cataphracts though. They are more expensive than both knights and camels, and it's a much better idea to boom your economy before creating them. On the water, the Byzantines should upgrade to war galley if they have galleys out already. If you find an enemy dock and see that they're fishing, building a quick dock and a fire ship will be a good way to take care of it. It will deal with them quickly and stop any galleys that might be produced too. Fire ships perform better when there are smaller numbers involved. Against an opponent with a lot of massed war galleys and a bit of micro, your fire ships can be very ineffective. Finally, the last thing to mention about Castle Age is that you can go Imperial pretty quickly with the Byzantines due to the upgrade costing 33% less. The Byzantines have every economy upgrade available to them, so building a strong economy is a great idea, as it can lead you very nicely into creating a lot more resource intensive units later on, such as Cataphracts and Paladins. The Byzantines work well in the Imperial Age because they can counter nearly everything, and they do also have a strong economy too. Once again, in a 1v1 situation or on the flank, upgrading your crossbows to arbalest should be done. Byzantines get good foot archers, so make sure to upgrade Thumbring, Ballistics, Chemistry and Bracer too for some formidable foot archers. As a flank player, it's also much more common to see archers over knights or camels, as the camels and knights miss bloodlines, and the final offensive upgrade. This lack of bloodlines can make quite the difference when fighting against other cavalry units. Byzantine players should also begin upgrading Siege Ram. Not only do siege rams give you a huge advantage in archer battles, due to of course the rams soaking a lot of arrow fire from the enemy, but they're also a great way to quickly and easily destroy enemy buildings. Once chemistry is upgraded, you could also consider researching and building some bombard towers and place them aggressively as you're attacking. This is very costly however, so make sure that you have plenty of resources coming in before you do this. In the pocket position, you have the option once again to upgrade your knights to cavalier and paladin, or upgrade your camels to heavy camel. The choice is yours, but as said before in the Castle Age section, you should make your decision based on how the game is going. More often than not, it's a better idea to go with the paladins over than camels. Against infantry civilizations, or even just in general, Cataphracts are a great unit to mix into your army, or even just to mass on their own. Upgrading them to elite Cataphract and getting the Logistica upgrade is extremely costly though, 2,600 food and 1,400 gold, but it's well worth it if you can afford it. Logistica causes your Cataphracts to do trample damage, which means that they'll do damage to all units around them when they attack. It will also give them a slight attack bonus against infantry. This means that massing halberdiers against Cataphracts is not such a great idea. The Cataphracts will shred through any infantry units with ease, and even do considerable damage to massed cavalry, only just losing to fully upgraded paladins once Logistica is researched. The best way to counter Cataphracts is to create arbalests. Heavy scorpions work well too, providing you can, of course, protect them, using perhaps a cheap unit such as the halberdier. Of course, Byzantines also function well when all of the gold on the map has been used up. With cheaper skirmishers and halberdiers, they can make trash units for a long time. Couple this with their strong economy, and the Byzantines should fare well in a lot of trash wars. Finally, on the water, the Byzantines can of course upgrade to galleon, which should be done if the water has not been completely won or lost. Providing that you also have reasonable water control, you could even add in some cannon galleons to start taking out buildings from the water. These can be extremely effective on water maps and do a lot of damage over time to any buildings within a large radius of the coast. Overall, the Byzantines are a great civilization with a lot of versatility. Providing you can create the correct units to counter whatever your enemy is doing, then you can find yourself in a good situation. Keep scouting to give yourself the best idea about what your opponent is up to. Massing lots of Cataphracts is certainly one of my favourite things to do. Have fun with the Byzantines, and I'll see you next time for more Zero to Hero, where we'll be looking at the Celts. Thanks for watching, and as usual I've been Zach. See you next time.